A few years ago, my crew and I started filming a documentary about Renaissance Fair people. Now, for me, this could be described as work in that I was using the tools and skills that I use in my regular job, but I actually set out to capture on film the opposite of work, play. Giacomo of the Celtic band Empty Hats plays year-round. His work is to play. Now, when I interviewed Carl, that's his real name, he provided the soundbite that inspired my talk tonight. Temenos, Carl said, is a Greek word meaning a safe place in which to play. Now, that's really what the fair is all about to me. It's a safe place for play, right? I'll get back to that in a minute, but more than that, Temenos made me think about play itself. We need to remind ourselves to take time to play. We need play to fuel creativity. Now, Stanley Kubrick reminded us what can happen to a person when they don't take time to play. Most of us think we're just too damn busy, we're going too fast to take our foot off the gas. Am I right? When we look back, do we ever wish we had maybe worked a few more hours? Do you ever say, I'd love to, but I can't, I'm just too busy? Now, we all know what Dick wanted from Jane, right? Come out and play. What were you thinking? Let me ask you, if you were offered health, laughter, joy, and fun, would you take it? Somewhere between childhood and adulthood, our sense of play becomes lost. Probably in the same place where single socks end up, but in playful hands, imagination can turn the ordinary into fantasy. Ever see what a kid can do with a cardboard box? Usually more than the toy that came in it, right? Play inspires creativity. It fires us back up. Back in grade school, this class clown was the last kid you'd ever figure would grow up to become kind of a dull boy. I grew up, memorizing snappy answers to stupid questions in Mad Magazine. Anybody here have a day runner? Did you remember to schedule time for fun? 26 years ago, my wife and I honeymooned in, where else? Orlando, right? So once we'd had our fill of mice, we headed down I-4 for the clowns at Ringling, but noticed that there was something strange going on outside the compound. At the end of the day, we encountered these two folks as they were checking out of, what's this, a Renaissance fair? What's this, laughter? Everybody seems so happy. Have I possibly gone daffy? Hey, what do you got in that mug there, pal? Well, whatever we had planned for the next day, forget it. Instead, we went to our first fair. Washing well wenches, danger comedy, rat catchers. I quickly learned it works best to leave your preconceived notions out in the parking lot. Stepping inside the fair, you enter into another dimension, a journey into a wondrous land whose boundaries are that of imagination. Our friend Giacomo, serenading the gypsies here, likes to describe the experience of the fair as somewhen else. Now, it's never historically clear exactly where or when. It's just not the same as the world outside the gates. Call it a willing suspension of disbelief, a liberating lack of inhibition. At every fair, there are performers who live this life year-round, whose work is play. And there are vendors who travel the fair circuit in whose veins gypsy blood likely flows. I had 3 crews out there shooting for 2 days, and we never ran out of interesting subjects to shoot. Like these folks, who parade around the fair in elaborate homemade costumes. They're called patrons. These folks know how to have a good time. They drink a lot, they laugh a lot. I'm guessing they have low blood pressure. After a couple days of filming them, I just wanted to put the camera down and join them for a beer myself, which I did. At this fair, the cast is joined by dozens of local children and adults who first audition and rehearse and play a variety of roles. Now, I shot the auditions in 6 weeks of rehearsals, and over that time, I witnessed this band of merry misfits becoming a cast and an extended family. Of course, my family gets in on the action too. These are my kids. Mackenzie was a gypsy dancer. Duncan was the lead dancer for the king, and Hayden, a squire to a nobleman. They're over there. But the star of the local show is none other than the charming and somewhat drunken Lord Edward. Now, They tell me he's never actually drunk on stage, I don't know, but in real life, Michael writes code. And apart from his yellow shoes, is a pretty normal guy. His wife, Jennifer, and Michael, they coordinate the talent for the Tavares Fair. They actually met at a fair. At first, she thought Lord Edward's flirtations were part of the act, but eventually he won her over, and they encouraged me to film the fair. I chose to focus on Lord Edward and two other characters and contrast their lives offstage with the characters they play on stage. I wanted to know what makes these ordinary people suddenly transform into something extraordinary. Lord Edward's trusty manservant, Cod, was played by his own stepson, Nick. Nick's job was to provide seating for his master. Tragically, Nick here died in a jet ski accident 2 weeks after this moment was captured. So I guess we never know what moments will live on and remind us of joys we've shared. We can never know what might happen tomorrow or the day after. So let me ask you again. If you were offered a day to play with loved one, with friends, family, would you take it? I think we all need this idea of Temenos, a safe place in which to play. Some find theirs at the fair. Where will you find yours? Don't be afraid to heed that childish voice inside your head. And don't become dull. Come out and play. Thank you.